We live in a time where masculinity is shamed and men don't know what it means to be a man. As a pastor and counselor, I've spent the better part of my life equipping and training others. My goal with this show is to translate my hard-earned experience into tools and tactics to help you become stronger as a man. This is the BraveCo podcast. I'm your host, Jason Vallotton. Welcome back, BraveCo men, to the BraveCo podcast. I'm here with my right-hand man, the wingman, the Top Gun. Well, I think that you would be you'd be Goose and I'd be Maverick.
I think I'm Iceman.
Probably.
Like, it took us 20 years to become friends.
Yeah.
And now in the second movie, I'm dying, but we're close.
Yeah, no, that's good. I like that. Zick, everyone.
What's up, guys?
Hey, listen, we just finished our BraveCo conference.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Dude.
It was amazing.
It was so good. And what we want to do today is we want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Our goal is to make you guys so jealous that you didn't come, like real FOMO.
That you would never miss out, because we use jealousy and manipulation to lead people.
100%.
Yeah. So
people who say that they don't use that kind of stuff
are manipulating themselves. It's funny.
So we want to talk about a BraveCo conference.
Yeah.
It was so much stuff happened, and it's such a pivotal part of what we're doing, and so few people actually know about it.
Yeah.
And compared to like how many people we're touching and reaching and talking to,
or compared to how many people like know the Super Bowl. Like,
yeah, no,
not as many people know about BraveCo as that.
Yeah.
We got to fix that.
We're doing it right now.
Yeah.
So this year, at the BraveCo conference, it was June 12th through the 14th at Bethel Church. Now, I want to just help people understand. BraveCo is its own separate 501c3. It's its own ministry. We are in partnership. So churches bring us in to help us. Churches bring us in so we can help partner with their men's ministry.
Right.
Which is a really cool thing that we love to do. Yeah.
Content.
Yeah.
All
that stuff. So we bring speakers, we bring discipleship, we bring content. It's amazing. So we've had the privilege of partnering with Bethel 4 years now.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. Every year's been great. No year has been as good as this year. And you're going to find out why. A couple of things that we decided to do, probably 2 years ago, we sat down and just started thinking through, like, how can we change this? How can we go from like guys sitting in seats? Because the honest truth is I've done conferences, not that you haven't, but I've done conferences my whole life. I've been in the church 44 years. I've been on staff at Bethel for 20 years this year, a long time. And I like conferences. I'm not dogging them. But for men, sitting in seats and just listening is like, it's hard, man.
It's tough. And singing, like, worship for that long and that much time for guys is tough too, I find.
Well, I just think the model of come, sit, listen,
not
sing,
get to engage, not get to regurgitate. Yeah.
There's a better model.
And we've found it.
Well, no, not full. I mean,
not fully. We're always improving, but what?
Yeah.
And I will say, probably two of our greatest things
is talking about ourselves.
No, two of our greatest things are things I did not think would work.
Yeah.
That you were just adamant about. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not I cannot envision this. And man, they are probably, I think, two of the biggest life givers that breaks the standard model.
Yeah. So what we've done is 2 years ago, we went, okay, we want every guy that comes to be a part of a tribe.
Yep.
To be in a group of men, because that's where the juice is, right? Like when guys go to, I even know myself, like when I go into a church service, I don't necessarily sit up front. I don't interact with all the other dudes.
Yeah.
Like guys go to hide. We go to like, I'm going because my
There's
wife
no
wants me to
hiding
go.
at BraveCo.
Yeah. And so what we did is we want men to come and to connect, to come and feel the strength of being on a team, right? The camaraderie, the community. So we put every guy into a team, into a tribe. The teams are groups of around 50. We have leaders and co-leaders. A lot of the teams, almost all the teams, jump on a Zoom call before they even come here. So as guys are registering, we're putting them into the groups.
Getting to know each other, connecting.
Getting to know each other, connecting. Yeah. So when you come in, when you fly into the conference, you're coming into a group of men that know you, which, are getting to know you, which is so cool. And you've got a team color, and you know where your room is and where you're going to meet. And you got team leaders, and those leaders are there to serve and pour out and like to bless you, right? It's not just this hierarchy thing, but it's cool. And so we started that, and that was like massive breakthrough for us.
Huge.
All the teams sit together in the conference and they rotate seats.
Yeah.
And it's cool because if a church sends their men here, 15, 20 men, we can put them all on the same group.
Yep.
Which is awesome because they get to go through all the different things that we do.
Probably the coolest part to it is the ministry that they get to do together with that group. I think probably some of the most, couple of the moments that stuck out to me from groups that I thought these were really powerful moments, was Doug and Trey. A couple of our friends led a group together.
Yeah.
I hadn't ever seen Doug or Trey in a setting like that, right? Like we knew at the shooting school, and then we all text and joke around and stuff. Watching these two guys step into a group with guys they didn't know before the conference. And there was a moment where one of them was praying for one of the other guys in the group, holding him, and they're crying together.
Yeah.
A guy that they'd met a day before.
I know.
And they're working through stuff, talking through stuff, praying through stuff, fighting through stuff together. I mean, those were, I told Trey at the end of it, I'm like, you guys led super well together. Like watching them just not take a moment off. They didn't take us, and to see the camaraderie that was built and the breakthrough that happened from having a set. So the people that you're communicating with or you're spending time with in the ministry time are the guys that are in your group. It actually, I think it fast-tracked vulnerability in a way that you wouldn't get normally.
It's real. So what we did is we decided, okay, the ministry doesn't need to be just by the guy up front or the special team that's, there and on the ministry lines. And that stuff's fine, but we want most of the ministry to come from the group itself. Yeah. And so kind of the model is like Wednesday night when everyone came, I spoke this year just to kick us off and talked about, guys actually having a vision for their life, right? Yeah. And a plan for their life. And, one of the ideas that we had was, our team really felt so strongly about guys having a fresh start. And also there's so many men that have never been welcomed into manhood.
Yeah.
Who feel like a young man in a grown man's body. And honestly, it's not like you didn't have the choice, right? Like if you didn't have somebody a culture that like helped initiate you into manhood somehow.
Right.
Not even officially like
send them out into the woods, kill a bear. Don't come back till you do.
No. Even just guys that expected you to do hard things and to work, and that you can easily get to a point where you feel like a young man in a grown man's body. And so we did an altar call at the end and basically said, hey, there's two groups of guys that I want to talk to right now. And it's, if you've walked away from the Lord and you're not walking with God and you've never been baptized, we want to baptize you tonight.
Yeah.
The other piece is, if you feel like a young man in a grown man's body, we want to do a prophetic act where we dunk you under, and that young boy gets to stay, and we pull you out as a grown man. And it was a great idea. It was a good idea. It went to a great idea when we said, let's let the groups baptize their own guys. Yeah. So we had 6 baptismal tanks, and we didn't tell the guys ahead of time that we were doing it. We told the group leaders, but we didn't tell the guys. And so when I gave the altar call, I figured a bunch of guys would do it, but it was like close to half the room.
Yeah, it was crazy how many guys did it.
And so powerful because the first night you have these guys who are wanting breakthrough, who want God to move in their life, who want to feel bonded and connected to their group, are coming up, and their group leaders are loving on them, praying for them, baptizing them, and these guys are coming up like guys got baptized with their phones in their pockets because so
wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so we had our teams are saying, "Hey, do you have anything in your pockets you need to remove?" And they'd be like, "I have my phone in my pocket." And he's like, "Hey, you want to get it? You need to get it out." And he's like, "Nah, I'm dunking that too." Yeah, guys were like, "I'm done with the addiction. I'm done looking at porn.
So
I'm done with," and getting dunked under with their phones coming up and letting
I never heard that. That's cool.
Letting God work in their life. Right after that, right? So right after that, we had probably 275, 300 guys get baptized. All the guys went into their groups. So what's awesome is after the speaking, we end early enough for the groups then to go and do an activation, which is the most important part, right? The message is just to activate the men to take action in their life. And without making it too confusing, what we wanted to do this year is create a battle plan that every man is working on while he's going through the conference.
Yep.
So the battle plan is the 7 main areas of your life: faith, your family, your fitness, your finances, your physical health, relationships. And basically each one of the speakers throughout the conference is giving you a piece of the plan.
Right.
So the idea is that every man is getting laser focused on the one area of his life
that needs to work on.
Here's
the question. How did we empty the baptismals? I did not see that happen. 6 baptismals up on the stage.
I don't know how they empty them.
Like they were empty the next morning.
Yeah.
That was like magic.
It was.
Shout out to the team.
Do we believe in magic?
No. But it was
powerful
event team. Way to go, event team.
Yeah, they were
Shout
great.
out to the event team for somehow figuring that out.
Yeah. So the first night, the guys, the first B in battle is believe, right? You need to actually believe that God has a plan, that he's good, that he's and figure out what you're believing for. So the guys went to their rooms after they had been baptized. They all went to their different groups and they broke up into separate groups, right? So there's 50 guys in a room.
Yeah.
And then they break up into like groups of 4 or 5 and talk about what is the one area of their life that they're believing God for. And is it their finances? Is it their family? And so they begin to outline that area of their life. And it's so cool because once they figure that area out, which is not hard to do, then we have them write it down on a piece of tape, a white piece of tape, and actually stick it on their chest, which is fun because it automatically laser focuses a guy to go, I know I'm here.
Right.
So many times we go,
what are we trying to do?
Hey, we go into a church service and I'm there to be entertained, or I hope worship's good. It's so different when you go in and you actually start to go,
I'm here to do work.
I'm here to work.
Yeah, and let the Lord. And I love that you set the tone from that at the beginning. Like, hey guys, we're not here for comfort this weekend. This isn't a vacation.
Yeah.
We're going to go back better men.
Yeah.
Which is huge. That intentionality. All right. Let me ask a question to us. Favorite moment of the weekend?
Rite of passage.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
So the first night's awesome because the baptisms are crazy.
Yeah.
And watching guys get dunked under is amazing. This year we added a rite of passage for kids, for young boys, 12 to 18, right?
Yep.
And the rite of passage was a 3.1 mile Tough Mudder course. There's 30 different stations.
Yeah.
Everything from throwing a spear to like monkey bar 20, like big
military
monkey bars.
Apparatuses underneath barbed wire in the mud.
Yeah, huge,
over hill,
huge
over walls. tire flip or pulled. If they pulled the tire.
Pulled the tire, yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was insane.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So it's so cool because we had the opportunity, right, to welcome these young men into manhood, to have a day in their life.
How many kids did it?
85.
Yeah, that's awesome. It was so cool out there. 6 a.m. Men came out to watch that didn't even have kids in it.
Oh yeah.
Like guys came out just to support the young men doing it, which was so cool.
Yeah.
Like they're running into the final finish line and they're just lines of men on both sides. It was pretty epic.
Yeah. And we'll tell his testimony. One of the best testimonies came from the rite of passage.
Yeah, it was cool.
We'll tell some testimonies from that. So the rite of passage was insane. I mean, it was just what happened in the boys' lives when they're running, but what happened in the men's lives, cheering those boys on, watching them.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Go through all that stuff was awesome.
It was epic.
It really was. What was your favorite part?
Not spiritual like that.
No, it's great.
My favorite part. Well, so we got a guy that's come. I think he's come every year. Definitely the last 2 years. His name's Josh. And he takes his shirt off every single year.
Oh, yes.
Every year,
yeah.
Shirt's coming off.
Yeah.
At one of the competitions.
He's a big boy.
We have pregame challenges between the teams. The other dynamic of the groups is there's activity, there's challenges going on, and points being tallied. And there's a winner that gets really, really expensive high-end trophies.
Yeah, they're like $3 or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like little plastic, but they're really high end. The value isn't in the medal.
No.
The value is in the blood, sweat, and tears, right?
Because they're plastic.
And so we did a strongest man competition this year. So we're doing a tug of war up right in front of the stage. And Josh is just one of the funnest guys on the planet, right? Like his personality is just fun to be around. And rips his shirt off as usual. It's a one-on-one tug of war. The man is in Chacos.
Yes.
He is in Chacos.
If you don't know what those are, they're sandals like Jesus wore.
Right. Like it's basically strap, right? Like there's maybe 2 straps here.
Strap on the back.
Strap around the back. But the guy is in sandals. And he's going against some
dudes.
Ripped dudes. Like
he's throwing them around.
And he is throwing these guys around. Sorry if you're one of those guys, he threw you around.
No, it's true.
And and his shirt's off, he's yelling, everybody's surrounded, screaming. I'm not saying that I always want Josh to take his shirt off at BraveCo, but if he does it next year,
be BraveCo without.
If he doesn't do it next year, I would be disappointed.
Yeah, me too.
Josh,
we love you, man.
To you.
The team challenges and competitions are a massive part of what we do. To me, like, okay, so Thursday morning, we take 4 hours. We go to Big League Dreams, which is this massive
sports complex.
Yeah, sports complex. And we have 7 different stations where teams 50 on 50 are competing. And we do that for hours. So, and the guys rotate through and it's insane. It's so much.
And in Reading, it's like 90 already in the morning. So it's cooler.
Yeah.
But it's hot.
It's great.
It's awesome. I mean, it is a battle.
The thing is you only trust a guy so much until you've battled with him, right?
Yeah.
Like you can sit by a guy in church for 5 years and then go play a massive game of tug of war and tire flips and
do something manly with him.
Kajava can, and you're like hugging each other.
Yeah.
And like, I love you. And
it's another thing that speeds up vulnerability.
It does.
Yeah.
And bonding.
So it's great.
Yeah.
And you get to see guys win strongest man with their shirt off in Chacos in the sanctuary.
Yeah.
I mean, who can beat it?
So we added the games, which was really huge this year for us. And last year we added the games too. This year we took it to another level. It was awesome. So that was really impactful for us. So I spoke, my dad spoke, Steve Weatherford spoke, Greg Hendricks, and then Pastor Bill and Banning spoke. And the theme this year was to rise up. Rise up in your homes, rise up in your families, rise up in your businesses. And so we really, I don't know, like I just felt like what happened in the lives of men was so powerful. Like, do you have a testimony that stood out to you? If you don't, I've got a couple.
Not individual. I would just say probably the biggest takeaway for me, I guess is what I would say. I think the importance of men pausing to be sharpened by other men can't be overstated.
No.
And because we're hunters and gatherers by nature, and rightfully so, and I believe that's godly, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what drives our desire to create, to produce, to work hard, to build a business, to be successful in what we do. Like, I think those are all God-given desires in us. Now, of course, it can get to ambition that's unhealthy, right? Like, but God gives us that desire. The more connected I'm becoming with men, the more I'm realizing my need for it and how much more productive it makes me, how much more healthy it makes me, how much better in general it makes me. So I think just in general, because now a few years in, we're getting to know guys. Like, there's guys I don't see ever except for there. You know what I mean? Coben's a good example. Like, he's a guy, I see him every year at BraveCo, and I watch him lead his group, and I watch him connect with guys. And now it's starting, as we've built, it's starting to become this own community. Yeah, we only see each other once every year, but it doesn't feel like we see each other once every year.
Yeah.
Because the bond is strengthening. And there's this sense where it's like there's guys that you meet, and if you were going through something, then I had to call Coben or Dan or, even Michael. Michael, you interact more with Michael McCord than I do, but like, if there was a moment, I'm no doubt in my mind.
Yep.
Yeah. What do you need?
Yeah, they're there.
Absolutely. Oh, you're in town? Yeah, you could stay with us.
Yep.
Bring the kids over, right? Like, there's this undefinable bond that is being created by going through these shared experiences of we're really talking about the painful parts of our life, and we're opening those up, and we're addressing them, and then we're working on them.
That's true.
I said I didn't have one. I do actually have a testimony.
Do it.
So there's this guy, I can't remember his name. Last year, I talked to him the last night. Service is over. Him and I talked for probably 45 minutes. It's to the point where it's me, him, and the guys stacking the chairs now, right? Like, we were there for quite a while. He was going through a bunch of different stuff. And he came up to me this year and he goes, "Hey, do you remember me?" And I go, "Yeah, of course I do." And he goes, "I want to thank you for last year." He's like, "'Cause you said everything I needed to hear and I didn't want to hear any of it."
Wow.
And he had shared me a bunch of stuff about his life and the challenges he was facing. And which I'm not going to get into those, obviously. But as he shared it, I looked at him and I said, "You are qualified and equipped to tackle this. You're a man. It's actually your job to fix this." And I just met him and I said to him something to the effect of, "I honestly think you're kind of whining and you need to stop and you need to go get after this. And you're the one that's empowered to fix this when you get home." And it was a super emotional moment, right? Like, we were there and we were going pretty deep into his life and his family's life and stuff. And he came back and in this moment this year, he said, "Everything has been different." He goes, "I stopped being a victim. I started working to fix things, and I can't tell you how different my life is now from a year ago."
Come on.
Like, just completely different. And the reality of him, he went and did the work.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the conference doesn't get credit. The conversation doesn't even get credit. I may have been the one that pointed out, but he had to go home and do some hard work. Like, he had some very hard things to address when he got home. And I can't tell you how proud I am of the guy that he did it.
I know.
Like, he went home, he did it, and he has a different life today than he did a year ago. It was really cool to touch base with him, for him to share with me just what the year had held and how different it was. Pretty significant moment,
I had guys that their marriage was on the rocks, separated, not living in the same home last year at the conference. I met this guy last year at the conference. He did our Foundations of Masculinity, He got into groups. Like, he was back at the conference this year. His marriage is restored.
It's amazing.
He brought his
it's
son this
unbelievable.
year. Like, his son went through the rite of passage.
Yep.
When he's kicking butt.
Just everything shifts.
Everything shifts. And one of my favorite testimonies was from the rite of passage.
Yeah.
There was this kid, funny enough, his name was Cole.
Yeah.
And
good name.
Yeah.
Solid naming power on his parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shut up.
I knew I shouldn't even have said it. So when the rite of passage was happening at 6 a.m. in the morning, there's 87, 89 kids running. And it's a tough course. I mean, it's a really tough course.
Yeah, it is very hard.
We send kids out in waves. That way they don't stack up on the actual,
they get the different
stations.
Spots. Yeah.
And about 40 minutes in, the first kids come, which is pretty fast. I mean, they did 3 miles of course, but man, there was one kid who was like, I don't know, 20 minutes in, he's throwing up, which sucks bad. He's all muddy and he's throwing up.
Yeah.
And he's
the heat's starting to come.
Yeah, he's 1 mile into a 3 mile race.
Right.
And he just kept going. But then there was this other kid named Cole that was with him who was also suffering. So these two boys were suffering so bad. And what I didn't know, well, here's what happened in the very beginning. I'll just do the spoiler. What I didn't know is the kid who got last place, which...
It wasn't a contest in that sense.
No. I should say the kid that finished last.
Yeah, right.
There's no like first.
That's a good way to say it.
No like place, but the kid that finished last his name was Cole. And by the time he finished, like all the guys are waiting for him. It's an exciting moment for us.
Yeah.
Because we're wanting to cheer these young men on. These boys that are becoming men, right? Yeah. And so we're all just like pouring into him. As he's coming, like the third to last station is this massive monkey bar like monkey bars where you hand over hand, like 20 feet long. And there's really muddy because all the other kids have gone through them and every kid is muddy head to toe. And so he's like haggard. He makes it all the way across the monkey bars and gets to the tractor tires. And he's trying to pull the tractor tire. And I'm watching this kid try to pull the tractor tire and he can't do it. So I run over there really quick and I'm like, hey, sit on your butt, put your feet against this log in front of you and like pull with your whole body. So he does that and he starts to move the tractor tire like a foot at a time. And all the guys are like cheering him on.
Yeah.
Here's what we don't know. He's almost done with the event. What we don't know is that this kid he's almost 16 years old. It's the day before his birthday. He doesn't have a dad. His
uncle.
Well, they're not even his real uncles, but he calls them his uncle. These guys from this church bring him to the conference, right? He has a form of cerebral palsy. He was born 26 weeks early. He has a speech impediment so bad that he can't share his own testimony to us because you can't hardly understand him. He has learning disabilities and he's never done any physical things like this before in his life.
Yeah.
We don't know this before he's doing this event, right? Only we call him his spiritual father knows. And these guys who brought him, his spiritual father didn't want him to run with the older kids. He wanted him to run with the younger kids so that he'd have more time, but he just basically refused and said, no, I want to run.
With my age.
Yeah, with my age group. And so his spiritual father's thinking like, this is not, there's no way he's going to do it. And I just don't want this to be a big disappointment for him. And on the very first obstacle, right? Like 0.1 miles into the course, you run up, like you hit the first obstacle. It's this big mud field. And then they have to climb up
this wall.
Yeah. These wall of tires. It's like 25 feet tall and go down the other side. Well, when this kid gets to the other side of the wall of tires, he doesn't have shoes. He didn't have any shoes. They're gone in the mud. And when the mud takes them, like they're gone.
They're done.
They're done. You can't get them back.
Yep.
So he gets to the other side and he's instantly discouraged. And his spiritual father's like, game over. He didn't make it one obstacle in.
Yep.
And he's done. And our friend Doug, who's just a great man, is standing there and he's like, hey, what size shoes do you wear? And the kid says, I wear size 9. Cole says, I wear size 9. He says, anybody wear size 9? And this other kid who's not old enough to run the race goes, I wear size 9. He can have my shoes. We have this all on video. It's amazing. So he takes off his shoes, right? And he gives them to Cole. And Cole sits down and he laces up his shoes and ties them really tight so they won't fall off again. And now he's off. But like, he's like rejuvenated.
Yeah.
And now these men are doing the course with him.
Yeah.
And so again, nobody else knows that he shouldn't be able to do this stuff.
Yeah.
He does a spear throw. He climbs through rocks. He climbs under the barbed wire. He steps over these obstacles. Like he's last, but who cares?
He's doing
right?
everything. Oh,
it doesn't even matter. Like really he's first.
Absolutely.
This kid's crushing it.
Come on.
And he's doing something he's never done. So his spiritual father tells me, he's recapping the story to me. He says, when he got to the monkey bars, I went, this is where he's going to fail. He's almost finished the course. He's 45 minutes later than every other kid besides the one who's throwing up, which is awesome too. The kid's going for it.
Yep.
And this is what he's not going to be able to do. He gets to the monkey bars, right? And he goes for it, hand over hand over hand over hand. He makes it the whole way. And his spiritual father said, I was so frustrated at first because I'm trying to film him, but there's so many men standing in front of me that I can't get to him. And he said, at first I was really frustrated. And then I realized this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Right? Like all these men are lending their strength to this kid. They're cheering him on, literally screaming his name and giving him the power.
So amazing.
The boost to do what he can't do. Then when he gets to the tire pole, his spiritual father says, there's no way he's going to be able to do the tire pole. Like he's not physically strong enough. He's not capable enough. And then of course, I don't know. I run over and I tell him like, hey, sit down, pull with all your might, do it like this. And he's able to do it. He finishes it. Well, the next obstacle, I remember like so vividly watching this kid. It's this log that is suspended like an inch over the water. So you have to go into this massive mud puddle that's over your head and swim under the log. Not that big of a deal, really. Like
you just have to go. They had to go all the way under like in muddy water.
Yeah.
Their heads going under completely submerged.
So I watch him try like 3 times. He gets to the log and he starts to go under and he panics and he comes up and he's like choking up muddy water. And I think to myself, I literally thought to myself, the only thing keeping this kid from finishing this is his fear. Like he's terrified. I don't know why he's terrified, but I'm watching him like he is terrified to do this. Well, then I see a guy on the other side of the log say, if you go under and you hold your breath and you reach your arm out, I'll pull you through. And so he does that, right? He plugs his nose and he holds his breath and he reaches his arm out and this guy pulls him through the other side, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody's cheering him on. The last obstacle is this really long, think of a telephone pole that the kids have to crawl across or scoot across.
Yeah.
That's over this massive mud puddle. And if you fall in, you got to like swim out and do it again. It sucks. Yeah. And it's all muddy because all the other kids have gone through it. So he gets onto the pole and he tries to walk across it, but that is not going to happen. Like he's smoked and it's not easy because it's all slippery. And then he sits his butt down on it and he starts scooting himself across, but he's so tired. Like he can't hardly do it. But then all the men are cheering, Cole, Cole, Cole. They're chanting his name and he's like scooting himself across. Anyways, is this amazing, crazy moment where he finishes this course, right? And we're so stoked. Like we're so stoked for these two young men who one was throwing up, the other one was just having a hard time with the course in our mind. I find out that afternoon that he should not have been able to do any of that. So we get him up on stage and we're sharing his story from stage. We're sharing his testimony. And his spiritual father's actually sharing his testimony because he really can't, in a way that we would understand it well. And then his spiritual father says, and it's his birthday. tomorrow's his birthday. And Pastor Bill stands up and hands him $20.
Yeah.
Which was such a cool moment.
It was.
It really was, because someone else had asked me, hey, can we give him money? And I was like, nah, it's okay. Like they said, can we take an offering for him?
Yeah.
And I said, no, I don't want to do that. And here's why I didn't want to do that. There's so many men in that room that are in need.
Yeah.
Like so many. And I didn't want to, as the leader, to stop and go like, I want to take an offering for this young man who did a really hard thing. Like all the guys did a hard thing, and all the guys are doing a hard thing.
Yeah.
But when somebody spontaneously stands up, when Bill stands up and gives him a 20, I'm stoked, because I want him to be blessed. And when it happens naturally, it's amazing.
Totally. And it was because of his birthday. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're giving him birthday money. Well, now all the guys are giving him all this cash.
I wonder how much he got.
Bro, he got
tons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably got like $500 or $600.
Yeah.
His spiritual father grabs the microphone and was like, thank you. Now we have gas money to get home.
It was pretty funny.
Bro. Like it was wild.
He was joking. We don't think he used it as gas money.
No, I actually don't know. I don't think he had the money to get home.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think they had the money to get home.
Wow.
I mean, they didn't need all of it to get home.
Yeah.
For sure. Just a cool moment on
awesome.
how God came through and used the community. And so to me, what I love about the conference every single year. So now that we're doing it this way, every man gets to experience community. Every man gets to open up in vulnerability. Every man knows exactly why they're there and what they're working on. They leave with a battle plan that they're working on, which is amazing, because they can now go and continue to execute. Our conference is it's not a mountaintop experience. It's a catalyst unto growth, unto discipleship.
It's a great way to say it.
Yeah. And then we announced to every guy at the conference that BraveCo's moving, that we've moved to make all of our resources free.
Yeah.
That includes the guys who are listening to this podcast right now.
Yep.
What we decided is we so believe in men getting radically changed and transformed that we don't want the price of discipleship
to ever stop somebody.
We don't want to leave any man behind. So literally right now, today, you can go to braveco.org. You can get, any church can get our Foundations of Masculinity and our phase 2, which is sexuality and relationships. We just released that.
Yep.
Any guy can get the Foundations of Masculinity or the sexuality and relationships and go through that himself. The only thing that we charge for is we charge $15 a month, which, guys, is freaking cheap if you want us to disciple you. If you want to come on and to join one of the groups that we are actually leading.
Yeah.
Or if you want to go on our website and be a group leader. So let's say that a guy in your church was like, dude, I want to lead some of the men in my church through it. And I want to use BraveCo's platform. I want to have access to the monthly call, and I want to be able to use, because our platform works like Zoom. You can create groups in it. You can use it just like Zoom, but it's all secure. And so if guys want to do that, $15 a month, you can go on, you can create a group, you can have other men from other communities, other parts of the country, other parts of the world. If you want them to join your group, you can make a group that's open to anyone to join.
Yeah.
If you want to create, if you're like, man, I have a heart for veterans, you can go to braveco.org, pay $15 a month, create a group for veterans, and advertise and get guys to come on and join that group.
Yep.
And lead it. $15 a month. It's like nothing.
Yeah. Right.
But to me, like, that is the best thing, is that we get this whole community, right? We have 700 guys at the conference who've experienced radical transformation. Every guy's been prayed for. Every guy's been prophesied over. Every guy's given a word. Every guy's had the opportunity to jump into someone else's pain, someone else's foxhole, be a part of someone else's miracle. We have stepped into these young men's lives and got them initiated into manhood. And now, as a group of men, where there's no excuse to not continue to
Yeah.
grow, so that next year when you come to the conference, you're at a completely different level.
Yeah.
The area of your life that you were suffering in, if it was your finances, if it was your family, like we actually gave you a plan for that. A plan that literally, guys, like you can go on to braveco.org/battle plan and start our battle plan today. Literally, They can go on and do it there from our website. But it's just so awesome because it's like a stake in the ground and then a plan to move forward, which
it's awesome.
Friggin' love it.
It's great. So don't miss it.
Don't miss it.
Got to be there next year.
Next year. Listen, guys, two things that you can do.
When is it next year? I forgot.
2 things that guys can do.
That wasn't just like a plug. I actually don't remember when it is.
Yeah. 2 things that they can do right now.
Okay.
They can go on. If you're not a part of if you've never done the Foundations of Masculinity, you have no excuse now. It's free. Even if you don't want to pay the $15 a month to do it, like to actually be a part of a BraveCo group.
You still do the content.
We want you to get a group of guys. They can all get it for free and lead those guys through it.
Yep.
Watch the Foundations of Masculinity, learn from it, grow from it. It's free. All the excuses gone. The second thing is right now, make a decision that you're going to jump into the BraveCo conference next year and launch your life. Be a launching pad. Gather the men that you take through your group and go, hey, next year, June 11th through the 13th, we're going to be at Bethel Church and we're going to bring our sons through the rite of passage and bring our men into community. Every year we switch it up, guys. Every year we add a component. Every year we make it better. We don't just do the same thing every single year. We make it better. So that's it, dude.
That's it. It was a great week.
It was an awesome week.
Come back if you came. Come again if you haven't.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for being here with me.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. BraveCo men, we love you. Stay brave this week.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to the BraveCo podcast. If you like this podcast, would you please rate it, review it, leave us a great comment. And if you like this episode in particular, share it with your friends and family. That helps us to spread the word. Guys, stay brave. We'll see you next week.